Good morning and welcome to the Franchise Minute. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. Today we have Jason Barkley with Ivybrook Academy. Welcome, Jason. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Anna. My pleasure. I look forward to chatting with you here for a few minutes.
Well, today's topic is something you're an expert in. Today's topic is preschool franchises, and Ivybrook Academy is really a shining star. So, Jason, start us off and share with us and the audience how you went, a little bit about your background and how you ended up working with the Ivy Brook Academy.
Yeah, sure thing. Thank you very much. So 25 years in the franchise space, that's scary. Literally a quarter century in the franchise space as a starting point. And I'm a partner of a company called Brand One Franchise Development. Just almost by luck, at least in my opinion, a board member of another brand that I'm responsible with introduced me to Drew and Jennifer McWilliams, the two co-founders of Ivybrook Academy, the whole way back in 2018. At that time, we had 3 units open, 3 academies in the United States, and we started working together. I've done all their recruiting since then, and really been blessed and fortunate to not only work with them on franchise development and growing their system by recruiting top quality franchisees, but also I'm a customer. My son went there for our son, my wife and I's son went there for 4 years, recently graduated, and he's a good, well-rounded human being that's now in kindergarten. So just blessed and fortunate to work with the brand. And, obviously we've grown a lot. Today we have 35 units open,
Wow.
55 more in development across the country. So I've just been blessed and fortunate to work with good people and on both sides of the coin.
Jason, that's an amazing story. So you helped Ivybrook Academy go from 3 open schools to now 35 with 55 currently in development. That's fantastic growth.
Yes, and the most special part of it to me was we did it with the right people. A lot of franchise brands, maybe not just, hey, we'll take whoever. We're not in a big hurry. This is still a privately held company that wants to do it with the right people and make sure that we can help those franchisees be successful. So again, it's been a blessing for me to work with such great people on both sides of the fence.
Well, go ahead and share with the audience, Jason, what does Ivybrook Academy do and how does it do it?
Yeah, sure thing. So Ivybrook Academy is a nationwide network of half-day preschools that offer a balanced, multifaceted approach to early childhood learning. Okay, now remember, I'm going to hit learning a good bit because this is what kind of differentiates us. Our curriculum is proprietary and copywritten, right? So we own the curriculum, but it's a hybrid of Montessori, Reggio Emilia, and then multiple intelligent research. All in all, what that means, it's a lot of jargon. Don't get caught up into it. The result is a top quality preschool experience that meets the individual needs, right, of the little learners through a collaborative approach to childhood education. So Jennifer McWilliams is absolutely one of the smartest ladies I've ever got to work with. She took 2 years back in 2005 to 2007 to set up the framework for our curriculum, and it's just been getting better year after year.
Wasn't she a first grade teacher and she's the founder of with her husband?
She has multiple education degrees, and literally her whole life she's known she was going to be in education. It's kind of ironic since she's been about in first grade. It's all she ever wanted. But interesting enough, I want to just do a little sidebar. The reason that Ivybrook was created was not to be a franchise system from the start. It was that Drew and Jennifer McWilliams wanted to give back to their community in a more positive way. And Jennifer knew she could do it. And Drew was in a situation to say, honey, start it. So the brand started in 2007. They were still in their 20s, right? Wow. 2007, 17 years ago, they opened up their first Ivybrook Academy in the southern suburbs of Charlotte, North Carolina. And now I think we're in 15 or 17 states across the country with 35 units open. And interesting enough, never had a failure yet. So this is about as blue chip as it gets for in regards to franchising.
Absolutely. And you also live in Charlotte, and so that's how your son was able to experience Ivybrook and went there all 4 years, correct?
Yes, and we were lucky enough to know somebody to get us past the waiting list. The majority of Ivybrook Academies that are established have a waiting list for their children. But, Drew was able to help get Luke, our son, into Ivybrook. And, man, what a blessing.
Well, just a little story, personal story of mine. I was an older mother, and I remember having to sign up for Mother's Day out, which was in a preschool. But then I was still pregnant with the baby before it was even born, but had to sign up for it that far in advance. And if I didn't, all the slots would be taken. And then I too sent both of my sons to half-day private preschools, and it's just been a wonderful experience. Really helped prepare them for both kindergarten, and of course, kindergarten prepared them for first grade. But I would do it all over again. It was just such a positive experience.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned something there that's pretty unique. I mean, people don't understand the demand. And like you said, you had to do it in advance. Literally, our corporate unit in South Charlotte can fill up the whole year in about 24 seconds. That's literally how it is. We have it down to the nanosecond, and it's like a Ticketmaster setup where, hey, we're going to do the 3-year-old Monday, Wednesday morning class at 9 a.m. The parents are online waiting to do it. It strikes 9, just like how we started this podcast, and boom, 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 and it just fills up. I remember being able to watch that with one of the co-founders back in 2019, and I was just shocked. Some people don't realize how much demand there is in something like Ivybrook. It's really amazing.
Well, and that leads us to I can't help but saying, just like a Taylor Swift ticket.
There you go.
All right, so that leads to, I've been in 21 years, so you're my senior when it comes to franchise experience. But we both know and experience that when anyone looks at a franchise for the first time, they come with all these preconceived notions. There are all these myths that are floating around about franchises. So I'm sure that's the case with Ivybrook Academy. So what are, a couple of kind of the top things that you have to squash or overcome as soon as you start talking to people about Ivybrook Academy?
Yeah. Well, first, 21 years is a good run. So congratulations on that. But you're right. A lot of people, they just don't know. They don't know franchising enough. And that's why they need to come to somebody like yourself, set that foundation, and then work with somebody like myself that works with specific brands. So you add a lot of value to that. All right.
But do you have people who confuse it with daycare?
Well, for sure. And I would say that's probably the number one myth is, well, Ivybrook's a daycare, or the other way around. Some daycare is actually a pre-elementary school. I'm telling you right now, they're not.
They're very, very different. So explain that.
Probably more common would be a daycare that says they do education and they're just doing off the shelf curriculum, and it's just not the environment that we have in our place. So that would be one, and that's a big one, right? Sometimes it is tough if they sent their children to daycare and they didn't really grasp the pre-elementary school, preparing their kids for kindergarten. That's truly a myth. But as we know, with again 17 years experience, no failures, that sort of thing, the demand, people get it, right? But not everybody. You need to educate people and kind of debunk that myth. So that would be an easy first one for me.
Well, it sounds like daycare is usually like all day. People drop the kid off before they go to work and pick them up after work in. So that can be 8, 9, or even 10 hours. This is a half-day private preschool, and it's a school.
Yeah, 100%. That's another great point, is that there is a great subset of folks out there that do not want their children in daycare all day, every day. A stair step their child into socialization and education, right? And obviously, you decided that was right for your children. My wife and I decided that was right for ours. In fact, about 5 different neighbors in our waterfront community thought the same thing. So after our son went there, they're like, hey, can you get him in? But what it does is, one, it lets us to really focus on education while the child's there. They're only with us for 3 hours and 45 minutes at a time, either the morning or the afternoon. And depending on how old they are, depends on how many days they come. But let's just be frank about this. It's also nice for the parents because a lot of our parents are stay-at-home parents. And that 4-hour break they have to go out and, get their workout in, get their cup of coffee, get their errands run, whatever it is, they love it as well, right? So it's a really
I
neat
certainly
feeling.
did.
Yeah, and what it does is we don't have a big national competitor. Sometimes that's it. They're like, oh, daycares are so competitive. I'm like, yeah, they are. There's a bunch of daycares. We're not that.
Right.
So not only does it benefit the customers or the parents of our children, but it also helps our business model as well. Again, if somebody talks to you and wants to learn more about Ivybrook, when we go through the disclosure document together, meaning me and them, they're going to see unit economics in this model. It's probably going to blow their socks off because it's here to stay. It's something that you're going to spend X amount of money on your family, but our unit economics are really, really great, and a lot of it's because we don't really have any cost of goods sold or anything like that in our model. It's working with children.
So I bet this is a question that you get, or a myth or preconceived notion. It's like, can you really make business and it's only half a day school and then you take a break over the summer, right? So can you really make money doing this?
Yeah, that's a great point because the vast majority of people out there that are looking at franchising, you're going to go look at a brand that they're going to be open in the evenings, weekends, 300
7 days a week.
Yeah, 350. The days that the time of days that you want to be with your family, you have a business open. We're in Ivybrook Academy. This is that work-life balance. Literally, we're open about 200 days a year. We do in the summer. We'll do 6 weeks of summer camp just from 9 to noon. We always say you can get back by the pool by 1.
Okay.
So that's that work-life balance. But I also think it's important because it's that same work-life balance for the employees. So it's easier to attract employees that are on a salary that literally are only going to be open X amount of days versus some other options that are out there.
Well, help the audience understand what's really the role of the owner of an Ivybrook Academy. Do they have to be a teacher or have an education background?
Yeah, not at all. And that's a great question again. Really, the role of the owner is going to depend on the owner and what they want to accomplish and what their skill set is. All right. We proactively allow owner operators as well as semi-absentee. Now, and whoever comes to chat with you, I'm sure you have to explain semi-absentee to them. We don't have enough time in this podcast to ever get down to the nitty gritty, but I do want to mention that we have franchisees that kept their day job, that did it, right? Did Ivybrooks, multiple Ivybrooks. And we also have folks that said, no, I want to be with the children, 40 hours a week. This is what I love to do. It's my passion. So both work with our model.
So it sounds flexible, which is great. All right. What really differentiates Ivybrook Academy from other preschools?
Yeah. Well, let's even go a little bit bigger, but I'll say preschools to start. First of all, proprietary, copywritten, blended curriculum. I mean, it's just top notch. What we're able to do between that curriculum and our software system that we, again, allow our franchisees to use is provide individualized learning. We all know anybody that has children, the kids don't learn the same way.
No, they don't.
They get interested in something that they do. So we're allowed to do that. So that's a big piece of it. Second, the interior of an Ivybrook Academy is like nothing else I've ever seen. It's almost like a children's museum more than a daycare or something like that. Because children at that age like to touch and feel. That's how they learn. Right. Obviously, I mentioned the ownership model, semi-absentee versus not. A lot of brands just say you've got to either be there or not. And then last would just be the quality of the people that own the brand, Jira and Jennifer McWilliams, as well as their staff. That culture comes the whole way down, literally to the end consumer in our 35 units across the country.
Well, Jason, we're out of time. Thank you. This has been very insightful. So you've said it before, but just to reinforce, so if someone wants to learn more about Ivybrook Academy or any of the Brand One brands, what would you recommend they do?
Yeah, sure thing. It's really easy. As we talked about myths and kind of how somebody starts to look at franchising, they need to work with somebody like you, Anna. They need to reach out to you and say, hey, I'm new to this. Let's get me to this X education level so you can help me determine what brands should I look at and just instead of spinning their wheels.
Right. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Jason. Audience, this is Jason Barkley with Ivybrook Academy. Thank you so much, Jason. This was really very insightful.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. And audience, Come back next week because we are going to learn about a home detailing franchise. You got that right, a home detailing franchise. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. See you next week.